Okay. So Helm chart, in this video, we'll be basically focusing on Helm. And if time allows, we will look into the installation of Prometheus and Grafana as well. So we'll look into what is Helm, what is this Helm chart, and how are we going to use it, and when to use it is the most important thing. And then what is this tiller, which is not now in the current version, not in use, but you should be aware that why it was earlier, why it was in use. Okay. So, hmm. Basically, in Kubernetes, you have this package managers. You must have seen, in case of Linux, you have yum apt, right?
Yes.
So, what is this yum and apt? These let you to install the packages, right?
Mm,
For example, if I have to install Python, sudo apt install Python, right?
mm, Yes.
And if it is other version of, so there we use. So in the way, Kubernetes is also having one package manager which is known as Helm. So if I want to install Prometheus, I'll use the Helm. If I want to install the Grafana, I'll use the Helm. And couple of more things, we are going to do it. Got it in a very
Okay.
simple way.
Yes.
Chocolate is again one of the package manager. So
Mm,
if you want to install anything on Windows, we generally use Choco for that one. So now we understood what is this Helm. Helm is a package manager for Kubernetes. But what it actually does, what kind of a packages it contain? It contain the packages of YAML file. In Kubernetes, you will come across a lot of YAML file for service, for deployment, for secrets, for config. You have to create deployment file or YAML file for each task, right?
mm,
So, but
Yes.
in this case, Helm will help you to package all these YAML file and distribute them in a public and private repository. So you can create once, put it in the repository. If it is for organization, put it in the private repository. If it is for the all people, put it in the public repository. Now it sounds similar like the GitHub, similar like the Docker Hub, right?
Mm,
So it's the same thing. Okay. A lot
Okay.
of people created this YAML file, already created YAML files, which are very complicated, and put them in the public repository, which we'll see. And if it is particular to the organization, they keep it their own. Like as we discussed, so we have to create a lot of stateful state, config map, okay, permissions, secrets, services, deployment. So if you have a single application in a Kubernetes cluster,
mm,
okay, and you want to create the pods, services, so you have to write a lot of YAML file, and which is going to be very much hectic because this is one Kubernetes cluster. In organization, you may find multiple Kubernetes cluster. So for every cluster, you are not going to sit and write the same thing. So what it does, you will package everything, okay, put it in a one central hub so that whenever there is any user or the developer can take your packages, YAML packages directly from this hub. And this hub is actually known as Helm hub. Okay. Now, if it is a single file, it's known as Helm. Okay. In general, Helm. But if it contains the bundle of YAML files, then this is known as Helm chart. So you can create your own Helm chart with Helm. So Helm basically is a command with which we access this Helm chart. And what is this Helm chart? These Helm charts are the bundle of YAML file. Okay, so if I want to install Helm, if I want to update, for example, in Linux we used to do sudo apt update. Here we will do Helm repo update. So Helm is a command and we are updating the Helm charts, or we want to get the Helm chart, we will use the command Helm. Okay. In one liner, as in the very beginning, I said, if I have to answer what is Helm, it's the bundle of, it contains YAML file. Okay. What kind of YAML file it contains? All the necessary components that are required to create a Kubernetes cluster. So push, once you create your own Helm chart with Helm, push it to the Helm repository
Okay.
and then download the existing one. If there, download and use the existing one. Okay. So you can have this Helm chart for the database application. Database application basically uses stateful state, remember?
Yes.
And then, and you know, there is too much hectic while creating the stateful state YAML files.
Mm.
Whereas for monitoring app also Helm chart is used. And in this class, in this series of class, we'll use Helm chart for monitoring apps, basically Prometheus and Grafana. So that you can reuse that config file. I mean, you have to create config file for both,
Mm.
and you are not going to create again and again. So instead of that, you create once and reuse that configuration again and again. Now, how do we share the Helm chart? So it looks like this. Need some deployment. Yes, I require some deployment. So Helm chart will come into the picture, or the Helm hub. This one, just I said. So discover and launch great Kubernetes ready app. Let's go to the browser and see. See, you can directly use Helm chart for the Prometheus, Helm chart for ALBS Ingress controller, or directly. That's right, Helm chart. Helm search hub. Here it is. So whatever you required, charts, click on this one. What kind of a package you now you required? Suppose I want ingress. So ingress controller. Right now I just want for ingress. See, Helm repo add Kong, and this is the Helm chart repository for ingress. It's a repository that contain the YAML file. Okay. So if I want ingress in my system, I'll just use this one. You don't have to write YAML file. That's a benefit because YAML file is already created in this section. Okay. This person, whoever created and put it in this repository. And then once you download any repository through Helm, always update the system, update repo, update, sorry, Helm repo update. And if this part is not available, these are some of the dependencies that comes along with the packages, then you can install separately this one. Okay. So same thing we are going to see with the Prometheus and Grafana. If I write Prometheus, so this is how it looks like. Release name. Great. There might be some new changes. They implemented this release name. It started with the version 16.0. Prometheus chart requires Helm 3.7 and more in order to install successfully. Please check Helm release version before. So you need to mention the Helm release version over here and then this one. So this will install Prometheus in your system. So again, if you are going to use Prometheus manually, you have to write YAML code for this Prometheus, which is again hectic. So we'll not do that one. We'll directly use this Helm chat for this, for the purpose. If I search for Grafana, so again, Helm install my release and then Grafana repository. So service and ingress basically let you to access the Grafana. Okay. Once you get the Grafana, you can get the password. PVC is basically the password and the config secret map. So these two, again, if you are going to use Kubernetes alone without Helm chart, you have to create config map and secret. Remember, we used to create while creating our application
Yes.
config map and secret, but here you
Mm.
don't have to create separately. You don't need to. It is already being created. You just use this command, Helm command, which contain this repository contain all the necessary secrets and config map. Okay. You just have to provide and see the password and the username. That's it. Everything is mentioned over here. So that's how that is the benefit of using the Helm. Got it?
Yes.
Okay. So we searched, we looked into the Helm hub, how to get any chart, Helm chart.
Mm.
Okay. When we will use for the Prometheus and Grafana, it will be crystal and clear that how further you can use the Helm. Okay. So right now we looked into the public registry where we searched specifically the files which are public and open source, but in private registry, which is only shared among the organization. Now, what are the things that we can put in the private registry? Like the application specific YAML file, right?
Mm.
And if that has to be deployed on three different cluster, Kubernetes cluster, then like a staging production for dev, then I'm not going to write YAML file for all these three different uh, Kubernetes cluster. Rather, I'll create one, put it in the private registry, and just use the Helm chart and take it from there. That's the first feature of Helm. That is bundling of the YAML file. Got it? Nothing
Yes.
more complicated.
Mm.
Second feature is the template engine. Now, what do we understand by the template engine? So basically what happens, in case if you have to write the YAML file, okay, there are a couple of the things like this one. This is like a one time you have to write the YAML file, that's for sure, because even though the syntax looks same, but you have to change the pod, what kind of a app name you're going to use, what kind of a port number you will be using, and what image name you will be using. Okay. So if you see deployment and the service configuration almost the same, little bit difference you will find over there,
Mm.
like this one. So if I have three microservices, okay, you have to write this YAML config file for all the three services. Okay. And it's pretty hectic if three different services, you have to write three different time, even though the syntax looks same, but still you are going to write three different YAML file. So the template engine, what it does, two things. First, it defines a common blueprint among all the three services. Three micro, what is the common thing? First thing. Second, dynamic value are replaced by the placeholder. Now, what happens sometime? Suppose secret, tokens, password, we don't want to give or write hard coded. We want to either pass it or we want to use some other file to pass the secrets. So there also template engine helps. And now how? Let's see. Now what I find in these three microservices, I find the name is similar, the image name is similar, and the port name is similar. Or might be different. Imagine it might be different. But the structure of these three YAML file always looks similar like this. So instead of hard coding the values independently, suppose name, image, and the port number are different for these three microservices. Okay, but the structure remain the same. So what I did, I put a common kind of template. This whole is a template which uses this variable. Now what I'll do, I'll see these values, values.name, values.container.name, values.container.image, and the port. These things are changed. So I'll just create a values.yaml file which contain only these three things which are changed. Okay. So I'll create a one common template and this value.yaml file. So next time I don't have to create this whole YAML file. Rather, I'll just create the value.yaml file, which will again use these values or will be would be used in these values in this argument. You can call it argument. Okay. So it's pretty simple. Create one template and create one value.yaml file, which and template only works if you have multiple microservices with common syntax. Then only. If everything is having different, then it won't be that much of use. So objects which is created based on the values defined. So these are the objects which is created based on the values. So you will define these values over here. And values define either via YAML file, that is what we did one time, or with hyphen, sorry, yeah, dash dash set flag. So this is for directly passing the value. If suppose there is only one value that is changed, suppose port number. So I don't have to create for single digit, I have to create a YAML file. That doesn't make sense. So I'll directly pass hyphen set port colon 900. That's it.
Okay.
So now you can see earlier we were having multiple YAML files and then we just converted into a single YAML file. And that is the feature of Helm again. You can get this YAML file in the Helm chart. Now, what are the benefits? Practical for CI/CD, very important. You always create CI/CD in such a way there minimum use of file and maximum use of your values, your secrets, these things. So if you build your own build, you can replace the values on the fly. On the fly means while passing or while running the build, you can give the value. You don't have to hard code the value. Understood? Any question over here?
No, I got it.
Okay. Then another use case is the same application across the different environments. Now, what is this? You have three different environment. Almost if you go to the big organization, you will find for development different, for staging different, for the production different. And all of them using different kind of YAML files. Okay. So either they'll be having their own chart, okay, own Helm chart, or there could be a common Helm chart as well for all these services. And you put this common Helm chart in the Helm repository where all the people who work in the development, staging, and production can extract that one. So if you download the Helm repository or the Helm chart, it looks like this. It comes with chart.yaml file, which actually contain your YAML file. Okay. Values.yaml file. Understood? What is the values?
Yes.
And then it contains the chat and the template. Inside chats folder, template. Understood what it template contains?
Hmm.
So what you will do? Only you will modify the values.yaml file and the template one based upon the kind of a structure you use for your organization. That's it.
Hmm.
Everything ready-made you will get. So top level my chat folder, the name of that chat.yaml file contain all the meta dependency versions. This one contain all the dependency things.
Hmm.
Value.yaml contains the value of the template file. Like, chat folder contain all the chat dependency. Inside that chat dependency, you may find template folder which contain the actual YAML code. Okay,
Hmm.
so pretty easy. Helm install and the chat name. That's it. Whatever the chat name you put in your repository, just use the chat name. Now, value injection into the template. There are two ways to implement. First, uh, it basically shows you how the value injection work. You have this value.yaml file by default. Now, what do you want that this version to be changed? Okay, so either, but later on you think that this version will again be in use. So I don't want to change in the value.yaml file. So what one person can do, they can create another YAML file with the only version. Okay. And if you see this version over hyphen hyphen value equal to my values.yaml file and the chat name. So if the chat contain this value file with the version 1.0.0 and you are passing explicitly another your own YAML file with the version 2.0.0, then this version will overwrite the default version. Okay. So there are two ways. Either you pass the value by creating the YAML file, but for one small unit, sorry, for a small task, you should not do this one. Rather, you pass it. Yeah, you pass it by one line command. Helm install hyphen hyphen set version 2.0.0.
Hmm. Okay.
That's it. So the result would be your values would be changed over here in the value YAML file. So this is value injection. And the third and the final is the release management, which is not mostly in use. I'll tell you why. So basically, see, you have this Kubernetes cluster. Okay. Helm contain two versions. The two version is version 2 and version 3. Currently, we are using version 3. Okay. You have this Helm client, okay, Helm chart where you send the command Helm install this, Helm install that, Helm install such. Okay. This request is sent to the center Kubernetes cluster, okay, main cluster, which is also known as tiller. Now remember, I'm talking about this is version 2, which was earlier used to be. Okay. And this tiller was having the power to install the chart, first thing, which is good, upgrade the version, which is also good, and third, roll back the version. Suppose this upgraded one, I want to roll back, you can roll back as well. So changes are applied to the existing deployment instead of the creating new one. So whatever available deployments you already having in your system, it will do changes over there. Handling the rollback basically go to the previous version, which is kind of good. But apart from this, it has also multiple power like create, update, and delete. It can delete your Kubernetes cluster, it can update, and it can create new one as well. Downside of the so tiller has too much of power inside Kubernetes cluster, which nobody wants as a security threat because anyone can use the tiller and delete your Kubernetes cluster. Okay, even though you apply secret for that one. And that's why, due to security issues in Helm version 3, this part main tiller has been removed. Okay, for security concern. So if somebody asks what is tiller, so tiller is basically a server which has the power to create, delete, update the Kubernetes cluster elements. But
Oh,
in the current version of Helm, it is not being in use. Why? Because of the security issue, as it was containing too much of power inside the Kubernetes cluster.
mm,
That's it. That's all about Helm. So hope you got the basic idea. What is this
yeah.
Helm? Okay, great. Now let's go and try to install our Prometheus and Grafana using this Helm. So
Mm,
for that, I have created this one PDF, Prometheus and Grafana minikube. Okay, which contains all the important information, all the important commands. Okay,
mm,
now let me go to my system. So I'll be using Windows as my Kubernetes on install on Windows. You
mm,
can use Linux and all. There will be a couple of changes, not too much, little bit. Okay, let's close all these applications. Um, Step aside. Okay, let's start from the first thing. We will install Helm. Okay, so to install the Helm, you should use Windows PowerShell in the admin mode. Okay, if I'm not wrong, it's choco install Kubernetes Helm -y, or you can directly go to the browser and search it. Choco install Kubernetes command. So it is choco install Kubernetes CLI. Okay, we want Kubernetes Helm. Copy it now. You can put -y to run the process in the background. So my system already contained this Kubernetes Helm.
mm,
So that's why it is showing installation the following packages. Kubernetes install Helm. By installing, you accept this license and all. So it's saying Kubernetes Helm version 4.1.0 already installed. Okay. In your system, it might not be available. So just use this choco install Kubernetes Helm and it will install it. Okay. Its task is done over here. You can either work on your command prompt. If you have, remember, open your Docker desktop while creating it, because Kubernetes depend upon the Docker.
mm.
So what happening? Command prompt. Hmm. So the first thing that I'll do, I'll use minikube start. There is one minikube, there is one kind. Okay. Kind is for the small things, small packages. If you want to start and run, you can use kind. Minikube for the complex thing, like Prometheus and Grafana going to take a lot of space and CPU. So you you should use minikube for that one. Minikube start. So it will take some time and it will start your minikube.
Yeah.
So once the minikube is start, you can use all the packages. Whenever you do minikube start, it actually a container, right? Which runs on your Kubernetes or Docker desktop. So when you say minikube start, it basically starts the container. And now you can use Kubernetes, all commands of Kubernetes. So it will take some time. Okay, so if you see the second command, Helm repo add Prometheus community, okay,
Mm.
and the repository name. Here it is. See,
Yes.
so Helm repo add. So it will add Prometheus Helm chart in your system. Now,
Mm.
previously, if you need to go, there is no direct way to access the Prometheus. So you need to create the all YAML file to access this one. But someone already created it and put it in the Helm, and that's why it is easy for us to access it. Yeah, still working on it. And the same goes for the Grafana as well. Here it is, Helm repo add Grafana and the repository URL. Okay. So whenever you add any repository, the best task next is to update the repository.
Mm.
So it's using Ingress and Nginx. Okay, it's done. Now the second task is for, let's check what do we have all. kubectl get pods. So we have 3 pods. Remember these pods? Mongo
Yes.
deployment, Mongo Express deployment, simple time service. Okay.
Mm.
If we want to get the service, what is the command to get the service?
Don't remember.
kubectl get svc. Okay. So this will give you all the services. Now
Mm.
here I told you cluster IP and the load balancer. Remember in the previous class, you were a little confused. What is this cluster IP? And
Yes.
so by default, you get the cluster IP as a type for the
Mm.
Kubernetes services. But if suppose you want to use external HTTP type of things to access, so you need to for ingress of a Mongo Express, which was a
Mm.
UI, and we wanted to access that one on our system. So we were using load balancer for that one. Okay. If it was Linux system, we would have used node port. Okay. It and it is a port number. This one 3000. Okay.
Mm.
Let's now we got these things. If you want to see what happened. Just give it a small time. Okay. So if CTL get all, so it will show you all the status of the deployment file, replica set, services, pods, okay, everything that is running on the system. Great. So nowhere we have this Prometheus and Grafana anything. So the first task is to get the Prometheus. So it is saying Prometheus already exists with the same configuration, skipping it. So I already have this Prometheus community in my system, which might not get uninstalled in the previous task, but it added it. Once you add this command in your system, it will add Prometheus. Okay, before going ahead, what is Prometheus? What is Grafana? You have the idea? Not a specific. I didn't get the much time to create the PPT for this specifically. But see, Prometheus is basically takes the all the data, all this data that you are seeing over here. Prometheus will take all this data and show it in your Prometheus dashboard. Now, I want to query over this service, whether it is working or not, or if any of this data I want to query and see their status, Prometheus will help you to do that. Now, Prometheus will help you in a number wise. It will show the data like this, and whatever the how much GB left, how much you are using. It's quite vague to see and read everything. Instead of that, chart is very good visualization. So for visualization task, Grafana comes into the picture. So Grafana help you to visualize all this data. So here Prometheus will take. Now if I do kubectl, okay, now the next is to update helm update repo, or helm repo update. It was helm repo update. So it updated it. Now if I do kubectl get services, so express Kubernetes. Okay, we have added the repository, but we have not installed Prometheus. So we need to install using this Helm. Helm, this one repository contain only the YAML file, and that's why you won't see the Prometheus in your system until and unless you install it. So once you install it, this Prometheus community get installed in your system. Using this Prometheus community, Helm will install the Prometheus. Okay. Now this is the important task. You at least one time go through it. That what are this actually is. You can see the namespace that it is using is the default. You can create your own namespace. If I would have given hyphen hyphen namespace equal to something, it would use that namespace. But since I have not provided any namespace, that's why it uses the default namespace. Okay. Description install complete. Prometheus server can be accessed via the port number 80. So remember this. Okay. By default it comes, but we will use this 9090 port number. We will forward Prometheus to this 9090 and we'll use it on that one. Now if I show you kubectl get pods, So you can see we got Prometheus Alert Manager, Prometheus kubestats. This kubestats contain all the metrics of your Kubernetes. Now, what are the metrics I will see? These metrics. Here you are seeing only just 3, 3, 3, 3, 3, 4 kind of things. But in metrics, you will see thousands because inside each services, there are a lot of things going on. So this chunk down this Prometheus stat matrix chunks down every data. So you can query everything. Okay. Then this node port exporter, okay, basically exports the Prometheus on a particular node or particular port number. Prometheus push gateway. These things comes along with the Prometheus and the server, Prometheus server. This is also important. This is the actually UI of your Prometheus. So we will see this UI in the later class. And if you want to see kubectl Prometheus services, so these are the services that are running on default cluster type, cluster IP. Okay, along with these are the IP addresses and their port numbers as well. Okay, great. So we have installed it. We looked into the pods, all the services. Now, if I want to see the UI, so there are two ways. Basically, if you are working with the this one, Linux, you will use node port to port the target as 9090. But in case of Windows, node port does not work. Okay, so we will use this kubectl port forwarding. I hope you remember this one.
Yeah.
So basically, it's easy. Any service that you want to run on a particular port number, this is the host port that will I will use, and this is the container port.
Container port.
Okay, which is Prometheus is using. So if you see when we install Prometheus run on a port number 80, and we are going to run Prometheus by port forwarding on 9090. Okay, so I will just copy this one. This is the main terminal. What I will use, I will be using another window plus R, CMD, and I will use this one because it will run in a attach mode. I cannot use -d here because this is not the container, Docker container. So Docker command won't be working over here. So I'll keep this one running and just I'll go on my system and do localhost 9090. Mhm. Mm, Here it is. This is the dashboard of your Prometheus. It's look pretty vague now. So this dashboard is basically for querying your data. You put your query data over here, press execute, and then you can see all the data that are being queried. Now, where will you bring all those data? So as I told you, all the data are available on this kubectl. Where it is? Cube stat metric. So if I show you cube stat matrix, here it is. We'll just do the port forwarding in that cube stat matrix as well. If we see what the port number it is running. So see cube stat matrix run on which port? 8080, right?
Yes.
So either you can directly use port 8080, run it on the port number 8080 by doing the port forwarding. Service, this one. So I'll use another command prompt. Now I'll just come over here into localhost 80. Done it. So this is kubestat matrix. If you go to the matrix, see all these are the matrix. Means in config map itself, there are these many codes or these many matrices going on. My
Mm.
namespace config map. So if I want to query over anything, like few of the query I have written over here, if you just do count kubectl daemon set created by the namespace and the default namespace that we are using. So what it will do, it will connect with the this one kubestat matrix and extract the data from here. Okay. So you can see kube system and the default. So there are two namespace that we are using. First is the kube system, other one is the default.
Okay.
Got it? So you do the query over here.
Mm.
All the query data will come from over here. Okay. Um,
But what's the purpose of this? I mean, in which cases we use the Prometheus?
so Prometheus, see, all your pods is up or not, running or not,
Mm.
getting over exhausted, how much traffic is coming, healthy pod is healthy or not. All these data is actually you get over here regarding your Kubernetes.
Mm.
But again, these datas you need to fetch. You cannot read it directly from here. It's way vague. So I will just run one command. There are pretty more commands, query, okay, like this. So I'll create a set of query which is important. With that, I can easily see instead of going to the Kubernetes terminal, I can access from here. And this is helpful for the coders who doesn't know Kubernetes, right?
Okay. Mm.
So again, this one thing. But reading from here, if the datas are a lot, it will again very vague to read it from here.
Mm.
So that's why Grafana comes into the picture. So you will connect Prometheus with Grafana. Again, Grafana does not work independently. Grafana has to connect with some this one query result. You can
Okay.
connect Grafana with your own database. You can connect Grafana with the Prometheus or
Mm.
anything. Okay. So this will help you to see all those datas in visual format.
Okay.
Okay. So in the same way, if I quickly download Grafana, so in the same process, nothing different. You add the repository of Grafana and install it.
Mm.
Added the Helm chart, Helm chart added. Then what was the command? Helm repo update. Repo got updated. Now I'll just use this install command. Helm install Grafana / Grafana. You can get in the documentation all these things. So Grafana again got installed in the same way. Again,
Mm.
it is running on which port number? If you see over here, did they mention?
87, I guess. Point number two.
Mm, okay, one more thing. Grafana uses this admin. You need to log in into Grafana, okay? So the Grafana service can be accessed via the port number 80
Mm.
again on the following DNS. But to access the Grafana, you need to have the password Admin, you have username as admin, but you need to create the password. And see, it is
Mm.
saying to create the secret namespace default Grafana -o. This is the password. Okay. And echo. So if I'll just copy this one, press enter. So see, it is base 64, which work on Ubuntu Linux system, not in Windows. For that, I created for the Windows. Copy this. It's not good copied. You got this password. Okay. But this password is in the encrypted format. You, while giving the password, you need to decrypt it. Okay. So to decrypt the format, paste anyway. Encoded password was this. What it is saying, message for
I think the command is for PowerShell and we are using
oh,
command.
correct. Absolutely right. I forgot we are doing. Are we missing something? Oh, one more. So this is the actual password.
Mm.
Okay, we got the password. I'll keep it for here and just do the port forwarding on your Grafana from 80 to 3000.
Mm.
So I'll use another CMD. And let's log in. Localhost 3000. Okay, admin we already have. Password
Mm.
we need to change. And this is going to be your password. Log in it. And this is the Grafana. Okay, this is how the dashboard looks like. And you can see the metrics it is showing. So it is way better than looking into the Prometheus, right?
Mm.
Okay, if you go to the dashboard and here all the data will be seen. So the next task will be to connect this Grafana with our Prometheus and extract all the data into the Grafana and see how the
Mhm.
dashboard actually looks like. Along with that, in the next class, we'll look what are the queries, more query we can run into it.
Okay.
Okay, till then you practice till here. Okay,
Mm. Yes.
any more confusion or question?
No.
Great, I'll upload this video and just
Mm.
practice once, then you will be clear, or you download everything on your system. So
Mm.
it will be much more clear from the next class. Okay.
Okay. Also, do share these files with
Y-
me.
Yeah, yeah, I'll share this. I'll attach this file in my YouTube. Okay.
Okay.
In the description, I'll attach it.